the American way of life, and God damn the hell and so on. Fuck the new world.
Fuck the new world order. Fuck the new world order.
American way of life, American way of life, American way of life, American way of life, American way of life.
Fuck the new world order. Fuck the new world order.
Yo, I ain't walking around with my shirt hat and my shoes matching, acting like I like fashion, and I don't got two gats or a shotgun, but I'm saying stand up as we take action against what we see in the fractional reserve. Monetary systems controlling the world. Private banks made every dollar ever earned, and loaned it to your government expecting it returned with interest on top. But it means we the people gotta be giving it all we got, but we don't get nothing back, and I'm fucking sick of that, cause they tell us stick it out while we bail these bitches out. They got $1 million bonuses while people lost their house, their car and their lives, but we're still throwing money at a war based on highs. And it's the border going fight. Why the fuck don't you wake up and see the storm is coming, alright?
For years, too many Wall Street executives made imprudent and dangerous decisions, seeking profits with too little regard for risk, too little regulatory scrutiny, and too little accountability. Banks made loans without concern for whether borrowers could repay them. And some borrowers took advantage of cheap credit to take on debt they couldn't afford.
I've said it all before, like 100 fucking times. If history don't repeat, it most definitely rhymes. But we don't know the beat, so we keep fucking up the line. So this music sounds shit and people going out their minds. You take a step aside and look at your lives. Maybe then you'll realize that it's lies that we're told, and it's holding us down. So I say rise, everybody, right now. Gotta open up your eyes, hear the signs in the road. We gotta look where we're going, but we gotta know where to go. Cause right now we have no goal, except for global governance and total world control. But there are no wicked souls, we are just one whole, subjectively experiencing individual parts of a show that is so much bigger than we could ever know. So wake up, motherfucker, let's go.
We start 2009 in the midst of a crisis unlike any we have seen in our lifetime. A crisis that has only deepened over the last few weeks. Nearly 2 million jobs have been now lost. And on Friday, we're likely to learn that we lost more jobs last year than any time since World War II.
And it'll keep getting worse, but you'll keep on paying more as the debt hits the sky, your life hits the floor. But hey, that's the price of the right to be born. So we pray every day in the hopes that when we're gone, something better awaits in the place that we call heaven. Unless we did something wrong, then we're burning forever. If you believe this, then fuck whatever. Eat your GMO food, get your shots in. We can all pray together for a better outcome. If you think it'll make a difference in this business, let me think. Nope, not a fucking chance. We gotta make a stance. We gotta get that power back in the fucking hands of the people. And we're starting with the banks. And you might think I'm crazy, but I'm not looking for your thanks. I just hope you take that blindfold off before you get to the end of the planks. A few more steps and we are all going to be sane.
Manufacturing has hit a 28-year low. Many businesses cannot borrow or make payroll. Many families cannot pay their bills or their mortgage. Many workers are watching their life savings disappear. Many Americans are both anxious and uncertain of what the future will hold. Now, I don't believe it's too late to change course, but it will be if we don't take dramatic action as soon as possible.
They not real gangsters. They not real gangsters. They not real gangsters. Gangster means organized crime to exploit the poor or the blind, using fortified lies. Before you call them the word, think more than 5 times. They used to roll with the cops, many borderline swine. With a 360 deal, still a hoarder, the sign line. Like a child, still amazed at how quarters and dimes shine. Real gangsters make billions, making slaves of civilians, making slaves of your children, making slaves do they killings. Really the game's brilliant, create the pain and the illness, then sell you the medicine that they claim will heal it. Real gangsters don't need guns to leave your brains on the ceiling. They teach you self-hatred and leave you chained by your feelings, almost insane from dealing with your everyday problems. They in every state, mobbing, doing heavyweight, robbing, intimidate, and Congress giving orders to the president, so all of them was selected before we elected them. These are real gangsters. These are real gangsters. These are real gangsters. These are real gangsters. They not real gangsters. They not real gangsters. They not real gangsters. They not real gangsters. These are real gangsters. These are real gangsters. These are real gangsters. These are real gangsters. They not real gangsters. They not real gangsters. They not real gangsters. They not real gangsters. If you spent your whole paycheck and you ain't even saved yet, and you still in great debt, then are you still a slave? Yes, 800 billions in bailouts is what the bank gets. Goldman Sachs, Merrill Lynch, throw up your gang sets. Money talks, but ebonics is in his language. That's why any black man teaching economics is dangerous. Real gangsters are but 10%. Satan and his apprentices, banking businessmen, discipline, raping, pillaging innocence. Master plans intricate, Africans witnessed it at the hands of the wickedest bastards and damn hypocrites, scamming riches with cash derivatives on Wall Street and slash your benefits as your senators, cause they all meet to send soldiers to secure the Iraq border before BP and Halliburton, New Orleans at Blackwater. If your land got resources, you getting attacked for it, cause real gangsters run the world on the backs of the poorest. These are real gangsters. These are real gangsters. These are real gangsters. These are real gangsters. They not real gangsters. They not real gangsters. They not real gangsters. They not.
Heard that before. Free Mumia Abu Jamal.
Subtitle of this book is U.S. Intelligence's Murderous Targeting of Tupac, MLK, Malcolm, Panthers, Hendrix, Marley, rappers, and linked ethnic leftists. The book includes over 1,000 endnotes referencing over 100 personal interviews the author conducted, hundreds of pages of court documents, and hundreds of pages of FBI and CIA documents. The author obtained many of these through a Freedom of Information Act request. For the sake of legitimacy, it should be said that activist leader Fred Hampton Jr. gave an afterword for the book. Pam Africa, head of the International Friends and Family of Mumia Abu Jamal campaign, wrote a foreword for the book to which former journalist turned top political prisoner Mumia Abu Jamal contributed. Regarding the Freedom of Information Act, this author paid for what was incidentally said to be over 4,000 pages in Tupac Shakur's FBI file. Here's the Department of Justice letter verifying that payment for these pages. The Department of Justice alleged reasons of national security for only sending 99 pages. Nonetheless, the other collected research and thousands of pages of mostly mainstream newspaper and magazine articles, as well as close to 100 research books and videos, substantiate the theme of this book. The collected research shows that a review of U.S. intelligence's targeting of the Shakur family offers a window into the targeting of key leftist black and ethnic leaders for over 4 decades. Similar tactics and personnel that were used against both conventional leftist leaders, such as Martin Luther King Jr. and Robert F. Kennedy, were used against more grassroots leaders, such as Malcolm X, Huey Newton, and other Panther leaders. Similar tactics and personnel were also used against leftist musicians, ranging from Harry Belafonte and Jimi Hendrix to Bob Marley and political rap artists. Tupac Shakur's leftist legacy started with his mother, Afeni Shakur, a one-time Black Panther leader of the Harlem, New York chapter. She had married Harlem Black Panther chapter founder Lumumba Shakur. Lumumba's father, Sayuddin Abba Shakur, had been a close associate of Malcolm X. Lumumba, his brother Zaid, and their adopted brother Mutulu had joined Malcolm X's Organization of Afro-American Unity shortly before Malcolm X's assassination. Malcolm X had formed this group as an American connection to an organization formed by independent African leaders, the Organization of African Unity. Malcolm X was the only American that these African leaders allowed to attend their meetings. Malcolm X warned these African leaders about the racism of America's top corporation owners and their likely desire to take advantage of the leaders to gain cheap access to their minerals, oil, and other resources. This led the African leaders to reconsider $100 million deals with these exploitative companies, which was a leading motive to the company owners possibly ordering Malcolm X's assassination. Huey Newton and Bobby Seale had organized with groups working with the Revolutionary Action Movement, or RAM, in 1966. RAM had started a Black Panther Party in Philadelphia, New York, and then Los Angeles. Maxwell Stanford, seen here, and Herman Ferguson started RAM. They used the Panther symbol that Stokely Carmichael had used for his Lowndes County, Mississippi Freedom Party. Carmichael and H. Rap Brown headed the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee, or SNCC, which acted as the student arm of Martin Luther King's group. By October of 1966, Huey Newton and Bobby Seale decided to start their own new group, the Black Panther Party for Self-Defense, in Oakland, California. They wanted to differentiate themselves from RAM's Black Panther Party by using more militant means of defending themselves and other blacks against rampant police brutality. They brought guns and law books to scenes of police beating on blacks. They read the rights of the victims and legally pointed guns at the officers to make them stop. Governor Ronald Reagan ended up changing the law because of them. They also developed a 10-point plan that involved free health care for all, free and black-centered education for all, amongst other ideas to fix society's ills. They further enacted these plans by attaining contributions from neighborhood businesses to fund the free breakfast programs and health centers they started. Their fame, membership, and programs quickly spread across the country. The next biggest chapter soon arose in Los Angeles, headed by John Huggins and apprentice Bunchy Carter. New York Times best-selling author Eldridge Cleaver had joined the Oakland Black Panther national leadership as their Minister of Information. His soon-to-be wife Kathleen Cleaver gained the position of National Secretary of Communications, a national spokesperson for the group at many events. Huey Newton and Bobby Seale signed Stokely Carmichael and H. Rap Brown as honorary East Coast Black Panther leaders. In New York City, Abba Shakur joined the Revolutionary Action Movement's New York Black Panthers. In 1968, the Oakland-based Black Panther Party for Self-Defense assigned Lumumba Shakur to head the Harlem Black Panthers. Within months, Tupac Shakur's mother, Afeni Shakur, joined the Harlem chapter and then married Lumumba Shakur. The National Panther leadership had assigned Lumumba's childhood friend, Sekou Odinga, who had also joined Malcolm X's group before he died, to head the Bronx Black Panther chapter. They named Lumumba's brother, Zaid Shakur, as the Bronx Black Panthers' Minister of Information. Tupac's uncle Thomas McCreary helped lead the Brooklyn Panthers. U.S. intelligence attacks on the Black Panther Party for Self-Defense started in 1967. Police had a list of Black Panther member license plates when they pulled Huey Newton over and got into a shootout with him. Bullets killed one officer and wounded Newton. Courts eventually acquitted Newton of this charge, but not before several years in jail and worldwide protests over his imprisonment. In 1968, a gunman assassinated civil rights leader Martin Luther King Jr. Dr. King's friend, a journalist named William Pepper, later became an attorney teaching at Oxford University and spent over 20 years investigating MLK's assassination. Here he is seen with Dr. King's family, where he represented them at an historic 1999 trial they won against a government co-conspirator involved in King's assassination. William Pepper wrote a first book on the investigation, Orders to Kill, and a second book on the trial, Act of State. Pepper said that U.S. intelligence, meaning the CIA, the FBI, military intelligence, etc., orchestrated Martin Luther King's assassination with the help of local mafia. Pepper said they did this partly due to King's mobilization of poor and working-class people to struggle for better wages and to oppose the Vietnam War. Some of Pepper's evidence included a copy of orders a Special Forces Group sniper or Green Beret gave him, seen here. This backup sniper, ready to finalize the assassination if the first shooter missed, separately confirmed another backup sniper's account. Another piece of evidence is this photo of a reported CIA agent jumping down from where the bullets came several minutes after the assassination. Here's an FBI counterintelligence program called COINTELPRO document detailing U.S. intelligence's concern that another radical black leader could rise up in the way Malcolm X had. The document talks of preventing the rise of a messiah who could unify and electrify the militant black nationalist movement. The document said that Martin Luther King Jr. was the leading candidate for this role. While most people seem to understand that MLK was not a militant black nationalist, but a leader who fought racist institutions, MLK evolved to struggle for economic and social justice. Malcolm X had also evolved to become more inclusive of all races in his movement for social and economic justice. In the days following MLK's assassination, people rioted, setting fire to buildings in over 100 cities nationwide. In Oakland, the highest per capita black city of that time, people didn't set the town ablaze because Black Panthers, including Eldridge Cleaver and Kathleen Cleaver, had asked them not to. They said police would use rioting as an excuse to kill the Black Panthers. Police had ransacked Eldridge and Kathleen Cleaver's home previously and then went after Eldridge 4 days after MLK's assassination. Police used a different excuse to go after Eldridge Cleaver, saying they were looking for a random gunman in the area and he was a suspect. Cleaver eluded them by hiding in the basement of his neighbor's house. Police unloaded a fusillade of bullets into that house. Cleaver saved himself by coming out of the house completely naked, knowing police couldn't shoot him and say he was armed. 18-year-old Bobby Hutton was too shy to follow Cleaver's advice. He came out shirtless with his arms raised and police fatally shot him.
Appréciez les récits, vos calmes agressifs, je gratte mes rimes, vous exprime ma dérive.
My whole hat is yellow, but I'm nice and I'm mellow. I got ice in the kettle, while my face in the pillow. I walk out in the meadow, in my bare feet. It's better than walking up and down in these paved streets. I got peeps that love me, and peeps that don't. I got peeps who's with me, and peeps who won't. This for my peeps who drink, and my peeps who smoke. I know it's hard when they all broke, and I hope that thing straighten out. How you making out? I should've took a different route and went into the sticks, but it's hard to catch my breath. I said the fog is getting thick.
Thickens, I'm trying to see through all this haze. My heart sickens, I'm trying to see some better days. Government's corrupt as fuck, they won't ever change their ways. Don't believe the media or anything that it portrays. We're being brainwashed, the truth is kept in secrecy. It's hard to go to bed at night and try to sleep peacefully. I'm too busy counting sheep, most of them don't make a peep. Only thing they care about is if they fucking pockets deep. Yo, I gotta go, I'm just about to get my blaze on. Don't like it, get your ass up out my maze on. Ray's gone, dawn's ray, damn I mean the day's gone. Will I make it through the night? Damn right, James Bond.
They've basically sold themselves to the industry, so they're completely controlled with everything they do. They're told what type of music to make, you know, they're given specific producers to work with. They're not thinking for themselves in any way whatsoever anymore, and that's what was so good about the industry 15 years ago and previous, because I'm choosing 15 years because at which point I think it started going downhill rapidly.
Exactly, we're talking 1997, and I would pinpoint that very year as the year that it all changed.
Yes, I would agree with that 100%, because previous to that you could tell with the type of urban music that was coming out from the UK and the US, the artists were thinking for themselves. They were bringing out what they wanted to bring out. There wasn't as much control going on. They could literally take their track to a label, get it signed, and it would be out. Now it's a case of the label saying, right, this is what you're going to make, this is how it's going to sound, and this is who you're going to work with. From the bottom to the top, from the start to the finish, everything they're doing and releasing now is controlled.
What we're seeing in music videos now, for anyone again that just spends more than a couple of minutes studying it, the same symbols and the same images are cropping up time and time again. Covering of one eye, pyramid signs, all kinds of blatant and not so blatant symbology. What have you noticed about the sort of stuff that's going into videos, and what do you think is going on?
Well, I think videos is the greatest way to get people behind it all, because the kids watch them every single day on the likes of MTV, being a prime candidate for one of the biggest corporations involved in pushing the symbology, because if it's a big video from big artists, they don't really care what's in that video, they'll show it anyway. You look at the current cream of the crop right now, as we should call them, as your Rihannas, your Nicki Minaj's, these type of people. I can't understand why anyone in this day and age can actually listen to that music. No offence to the artists, but their music is absolute crap. And before you even look at the videos, what are kids hearing and thinking, this is great, this is a brilliant artist? Because, I've listened to music my whole life, as you have. What we're hearing nowadays isn't quality music, but it's getting to the top of the charts, and that's because it's all that's being allowed to be shown on the music networks and on the radio stations.
It's not even music at all, Nicki Minaj.
Exactly, it's not music, it's nonsense.
Yeah.
It's become like a carnival act, because some of the stuff that they're showing in these videos isn't fun. It's becoming, ritualistic in some of the symbology that's going on. But kids are watching it and thinking, wow, this is amazing, this is awesome. Where if you look at a video from the mid-90s and before, you'll be seeing people having fun, having barbecues, having a laugh, having a drink, enjoying themselves. There's none of that going on now. It's literally filmed in a studio, hand over the eye, symbology all around, and they're not even noticing it, but we are. And they just think it's the norm to put that in videos, which it really isn't.
And when you question it, why do all these artists put their hands over their eye? People just say, oh, they're trying to look cool, it's just a cool thing to do. Well, if it's a cool thing to do, why is everyone doing it? Why haven't they found a new way to look cool? And there's going to come a point where guys like us have kind of died off, not literally, but, fallen off the scene, no longer active, so all our memories go with us. And I think that's what they're trying to do. It's a generational thing. They're trying to condition an entire generation. People are getting wise to it, courtesy of information such as this. We've got to do all we can to make people aware of how they're being duped, I feel. Something else that is affecting the music business in a major way in terms of the artists is MK Ultra Monarch programming.
Yes.
We're talking mind control. And to a lot of people, to hear that for the first time, to hear that artists, their favourite artists, may well be the subject of mind control experiments is going to be too much for them to accept, and they're just going to chuck it out by default. But it's true, there is absolute validity to this, there is absolute evidence available to suggest that it's going on. What is your understanding of how that is being incorporated into the music game?
What you've got to remember is music and film in our modern day culture, it's so underestimated the effect that it actually has on the overall psyche of everyone, how much when we listen to pop music, when we watch films, it influences us. Most of that is on a subconscious level, so when you take that into consideration, to imagine that level of influence that these media have on us while we're growing up, while we're forming our opinions about the world, if you were to imagine that and then think that the powers that be wouldn't have a way of infiltrating that and making it have this effect on us, well, okay, so is it really so far out to believe that some of these artists would be mind controlled in a way that they could pass off this programming onto us? If you only got to look a little bit into the government black projects, MK Ultra, which stands for Mind Control Ultra, and the people that have come out of these groups, and the harrowing stories of the torture and the things that they've been put through to become what they call MPD, which is multiple personality disorder. Nicki Minaj, she's an absolute textbook example of MPD. You can see her in interviews or listen to an interview speaking about these alter egos that she has.
Yes.
One of them's called Roman. And if you know anything about MPD or what they do to break people down, they talk about these alters of the mind. They break people down until they have these separate conscious or unconscious sub-personalities that can be drawn upon. These sub-personalities can be programmed with instructions that the other personalities have no idea about. So when Nicki Minaj is talking about Roman, what she could actually be talking about is one of these multiple alters.
Absolutely.
So for her to
Roman Zelensky,
which I'm sure, if you look into that, that's got some pretty deep connotations as well, just the name. But for her to be talking about that in an MTV-based interview, which at the end of the day is, for the layman, the people that are going to be listening to that stuff, why is that even being mentioned in an interview? That on its own begs questions. Nicki Minaj, another interesting thing is we're talking about how popular she is. I don't know if anyone saw on Facebook this week, there was a young guy somewhere, he went onto Nicki Minaj's page and actually wrote this. Have you seen this? There's a big monologue about how much he hated Nicki Minaj.
Oh, I did see that, yeah.
She's ruined the music industry,
yeah.
She's polluted the brains of all these teenage girls. This post got 694,000 likes. Now that really says something, because all these people are watching this, but I think in a way they're actually appreciating what garbage it is at the same time, but it's having almost this sort of hypnotic effect on them. So, you know, for someone to write a post about how much they hate an artist and their music and how it's destroying music culture, and this kid was in his teens, so, you know, to get 694,000 likes, that's got some validity. And, you know, I just think Nicki Minaj is an absolutely perfect example of what we're talking about here with one of these, you know, these artists which has been corrupted.
You've got the Roman Polanski altar, which is an allusion to the film director Roman Polanski, of course, who directed Rosemary's Baby. That one's definitely worth looking into if you've never heard of it. And then you've got all these amusing accents that she does. You know, she'll be in an interview or on a track and she breaks into this sort of funny English accent that she does. And people just think it's a novelty, it's just this funny thing that she does. But to me, it seems to be like one of the altars is breaking through. It's easy to hate on Nicki Minaj because she makes such shite garbage music. But when you look into MK Ultra and what it actually involves and what the victims go through, really you should be, you know, having major sympathy for anyone that's had to undergo that, because it's not pleasant. Lady Gaga the same way, because Lady Gaga has altars. She's got this sort of male persona. She dresses up in a suit and, you know, acts like a male. I don't believe that all the artists we're talking about are mind control subjects, but those two to me certainly are.
I think Madonna is another very interesting case, because she's obviously involved in this, I think possibly at maybe a higher level than people like Minaj, because if you watch, like, I mean, this has had an awful lot of coverage, the Super Bowl thing this year, the way that she was portrayed in that ceremony was almost like some sort of high priestess.
Exactly.
I get the impression that she's been, you know, one of their playthings for a very, very long time, and she may have been initiated in, although she is probably still a puppet, and, you know, she seems to be initiated to a slightly higher level than some of the pop stars that we're talking about, which are more modern and recent, because, you know, remember how big Madonna has been for so many years, how many you know, formative lives she has touched with her music videos and her, you know, her art. And you've only really got to look what's happened to her over the years, how much she's been manipulated and altered. She's like a ragdoll puppet for basically whatever image they want to portray at any given time. And keep an eye on her, and keep an eye on the videos, because that is absolutely plastered with the kind of symbolism that we're talking about. The all-seeing eyes, you know, the pyramids, the Masonic symbols. It's, you know, her stuff is full of it.
Totally. Do you think it's become almost fashionable for people to talk about the Illuminati? It's a bit of a buzzword. I'm sure a lot of people use it without fully having researched it or understanding what it means, but you're getting reference to it in tracks. There's a current Rick Ross track where he says, you know, he's making money, must be Illuminati. And you hear people say, oh, Jay-Z's Illuminati. Whereas, as far as I'm concerned, these artists aren't Illuminati. In their dreams, really. They would never be up there in the upper echelons of what that secret society represents. They're just puppets and stooges of the Illuminati.
And I think everyone's jumping on the bandwagon without even understanding the actual meaning, or they're just using it because it is the buzzword. And so many times you notice on Facebook, things will be posted and people say the Illuminati are behind it, Illuminati, you know, are at it again. And you think, well, no, that's absolutely nothing to do with them. That's just a natural occurring event, but you're blaming it on something you have no clue about because it is the chosen buzzword of the moment. As for the artists themselves, you're absolutely right. You know, in their wildest dreams, they would be part of it. Obviously, the majority of them are controlled from a higher level by elements within that kind of secret society, but they themselves are not Illuminati in any way, you know, and that's all they are, they're pawns.
Atajar o coger el camino recto, digno mientras crezco. El destino es un invento del capricho en ritmos lentos. Solo intento ser el mismo si decido estar atento al reto y poder conseguirlo en el cuaderno. Un cara a cara sale caro, tan difícil como ser disciplinado. Mi vida es hip hop, sombra del pecado. El mérito en mi delito es delicado. No repito si explico un significado con tal de dar con algo más de capacidad de elaborar el perdonar para luego vengarse. Con la sensibilité de Ludwig van, no es tarde para un final ni de aprender de cada viaje.
Ressembler n'importe qui, les beatmakers prennent des risques. De plus en plus de procès pour se nourrir pendant la crise, pour sortir à moindre frais. Un bon album sur un disque, tu devras unir le rap avec de la musique classique.
Rester authentique en lyrics, en face dans les clips. Ouais, tu devras te méfier des faux types, pas tomber dans les critiques, et toujours garder l'éthique. Rester vrai dans le chromie et casser les stéréotypes.
Hey yo, the premise is to legendary. Perry, like the African diaspora. Remember it's in February, let it carry. Climbing up the cemetery, flesh already dead, but I'm lava with saliva and the phlegm will carry. Flows even Noah can't cope with. The bars laced with dopeness the Scarface can't cope with. The most potent, catch me in the no free speech zone, revolting, a cold provoker. The ultimate culprit, label-less, slicing Mason face in half like the ghost ship. Rain from the world of the spirits, reflect pain whenever I came before I murdered mirrors. Shoot you in the head, clip you started with lyrics, I let you face it. Don't act surprised, then you fucking with some wise men, tongue sharp enough to fix your eyes like LASIK. Sergeant Smith ages, a gladiator, slave master, decapitator. You don't know the half even at the equator.
Doom, 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 doom. Zoom, doom, doom, doom. The production of that record is SP12, and I did that in my garage. I'm proud of that moment, I must say. Doom, 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 doom. The one thing I can say about KRS-ONE, he is happy in this chair right here, right now, right here. Doom, 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 doom. I'm a well-built boat. I'm built for the tropical storm to come. I will never sink. That's something I would never say in public.
Right now you in the center of the cipher. This is where shit gets liver. My man blowing with his lighter. I'm hiding like I'm higher. Let me show you how I go. If you with me right now, somebody say we walking around. I'm in the cipher like this is my town. Keep the camera on me. When you go home, I want you to make a DVD. And when you make your DVD, I want 20% of me. And you the witness. Right now you're seeing physical. Yo, son.
Then they say, well, there's a movie called Black Panther, the Black Panther movie, where it has become American entertainment to show how the government put heroin in the black community to offset revolutionary organizations. This is American entertainment. Like, you could go to the movies, sit down, and be entertained by this. I find it amazing. History repeats itself, and every time it does, it goes up a little bit. We are back again. We're the abolitionists again. And this right here, this gathering right here is the true state of America, the true state of American history. We Africans in America, we were trying to get free. We couldn't get free on our own because our own people were betraying us. It was strong white American families that ran the Underground Railroad that would leave a lantern in the window and we would run up, knock 2 or 3 times and be let in. A lot of families were hung because of that, shot because of that. Yeah, we talk about Harriet Tubman, but the families, the white American families that risked their lives taking her in, that's the part of American history we need to hear again. Our main message, stop the violence. They want us to be violent. They want us to be enraged, angered. Peace is a revolutionary strategy. If you could just hold your peace. This is the center of endurance. And endurance is what wins wars. Not how many people you kill, but how long can you endure? George Washington lost almost every battle he had, but he endured. He out-endured the British. And that's how the battle was won. Endurance. So I'm saying, stop the violence. Stop the violence in your home. Stop the violence in yourself, meaning doubting yourself, hating yourself. Stop the violence in society. Police officers, I beg you, stop the violence.
I interrupted you earlier when you tried to tell a Bard story. You started the Bard story and I interrupted.
The Bard story. I was going to say that violence in society is not caused by the people. It's caused by the neglect of leadership. And the police are the #1 cause of violence in society. They make the people jittery. They make the people insecure. Plus, if you look up what a police officer is in the Black's Law Dictionary, the only thing the police are supposed to be doing is keeping the peace. And they do not. So whose fault is it when you have violence in society if you're paying taxes to have peace in society and moral justice? The police are supposed to be the epitome of morality. Our children are supposed to look at a police officer and see an example of what a citizen is. Now they fear them. So if our children don't even respect the police, how are they going to respect the law?
Do you understand how dark it is? How far down the line we are? How late it is?
Right now we are slaves, but in the future it will be harder and harder and tighter, more difficult.
You know, it's interesting what you're saying. You're talking about the New World Order, globalization, international governments that have no allegiance to any one state or any one continent. Now, there's a part of me, this is controversial to say, because you're actually wearing a shirt that I made a song about. 9/11 was an inside job. That right there is something that I definitely believe on that. But here's the thing. What is the future? What does the future really look like? Every generation gets told the same thing. The future, you're going to be a slave. It's going to be worse for you. It's going to be harder for you. It's not necessarily the truth. It is, because my generation was told the same thing. When I was like 18, I would hear how Ronald Reagan is really the devil and he's going to destroy everything. And then he really did. He did do his evil. And believe it or not, let me just go right into crack cocaine, because Ronald Reagan is directly responsible for that. President Ronald Reagan, Oliver North, they bring crack cocaine into the American hood, okay? Now look at this. Before all of that, that was like 83, 85. Go back to 73 to 75. There were people on the corner like me saying, yo, listen, in a few more years, something evil is coming to this land. Don't get caught up in this bling bling. Don't get caught up in that. Stay with your culture, your collective consciousness. Stay with what's good. Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, Black Panthers. Let's stay around there. Everybody laughed at that person. Everybody said, man, you still preaching? All you want to do is just, you can't judge me. Now, Ronald Reagan instituted the slavery. It wasn't a whip. It wasn't the Ku Klux Klan. It was crack cocaine. Came in, everybody hitting the pipe. All of them went down in slavery. The ones that stayed with their culture, some of us fought against it, made records and rhymes and defied the cops and fought against it. We're still here. Others wanted the product so they could be a celebrity. They lost. Not just, that's the first thing you lose always. But then they lost their physical body. They lost their heritage. They lost their incomes. And I'm not saying this also, again, when discussing this type of matter, you gotta be sensitive to the people who just don't know, or to the people who got caught up in something they had no idea what they, because that still happens today. But we do have choices. When the prophet is speaking in your neighborhood, maybe your grandmother, maybe somebody you don't know, just that old gray-haired guy that keeps mumbling, get out, get a job, get dudes, learn something, that old gray-haired guy. We're always pushing him off to the side. Oh man, you don't know nothing. Oh, you old woman, that's the way we used to do it. We don't do it that way, no, you're just old-fashioned. That is what kills people. I've seen it about 3 times now, where we know what's about to happen to us. We preach against it. We come up with all kind of plans. Then it happens. And the very people that said, it will never be me, are the very ones falling victim. And the ones that you thought would be the ones to get caught, they the ones like, nah, I'm good. And they move on. No one ever wants to say this, but I'm going to say it here now. It's kind of a harsh thing to say, but I'll say it. It's that if you look at the fans of those in the 80s, like just look at all the music of the 80s from 81 to 91, and everybody in between, those that were KRS fans, Public Enemy fans, X-Clan fans, they're the ones running the countries now. They're the ones that avoided the crack cocaine scene. If you was of an era in the 80s, not many people want to say they don't want to bear this guilt, they don't want to bear this burden. That if you was one of them people during the 90s, say for instance, come out of crack, because we all talking that crack, come to diamonds, okay, that's more recent. Blood diamonds, Africans getting their hands and arms cut off for trying to steal a diamond that they're picking, they're finding the diamonds. They try to keep one, they're getting hands and feet chopped off. Blood diamonds. Charles Taylor, president of Liberia, just went to The Hague, as a matter of fact. Was convicted as a criminal. All the while that Charles Taylor's doing his thing in the country with these blood diamonds and financing wars. Same thing going on throughout the coast of Africa, other, blood diamonds. Rappers are all through the 90s. My ice this, ice that. I'm icy. Now, as you icy, you didn't realize that the reason you got those diamonds on is because your brother, your sister in another country is getting chopped off because you are driving the market for diamonds. Okay? Now, everybody that wore their diamonds, bought their diamonds, rocking diamonds, why they not wearing them now? Look at rappers today on TV. Nobody's really rocking diamonds like they used to. Icy. So you get 1 or 2 idiots. Yeah, I'm still icy. But for the most part though, the majority of rappers moved away from diamonds. Yes, good looking. Oh, okay, good. Moved away from diamonds. Moved away from diamonds. They're embarrassed. The things you sing along with, the things you purchase, and this is answering your question, really, about the future and all of this. As long as you stay close to the earth, you won't have a problem with the world. The world is man-made. The very definition of world is human activity. The world is an illusion. When you turn on CNN or BBC or Sky News or whatever it is, that's the world. They're making that stuff up. The earth is always the ruler. And the earth is always at peace. Always. The world could be at war. Get to the earth. The earth is at peace. So, and I was saying to you in this instance that those that listen to people like KRS-ONE, and not just in rap, you read a book, Noam Chomsky's work, or Howard Zinn's work on history, or anyone that's trying to educate people. If you keep your eye focused there, you don't have nothing to worry about. Globalization, New World Order, you don't have nothing to worry about. As a matter of fact, all of that will work for you. It'll work to your advantage. Everything going on. This is the secret. These politicians, they know where the earth is. So they're trying to get you to join their world. Once you in their world, then you got to think about globalization, New World Order, this, that, and the other. Even the word New World Order, that's not even George Bush's word. That's an ancient philosophical term that happened many times in human history. There was a New World Order. America itself was supposed to be a New World Order. The Dutch has a New World Order. Matter of fact, the Dutch was on a New World Order for real, for real. We talking hip hop, for real. Before we even was able to rap, we had to answer these questions first. The Angel came. Hip hop, you guys will be the greatest ever, but Tupac, Biggie, Scott LaRock, Big L, Big Pun, Eazy-E, Freaky Ty, Heavy D, they all gotta go. Had the Angel came to us in '87 and said, listen, KRS, you'll be the greatest MC ever. But Scott LaRock gotta go. Public education doesn't inspire you because it's not meant to. It's meant to de-inspire. Really, public education is for you to respond reflexively to authority. That's it. That's the purpose of public education. Just summed up 12 years for you right there.
There you go.
Public education, when I say jump, you say how high. That's it. Nothing about your culture. Nothing about the cultures you see every day in society. Nothing about law, medicine. Nothing about any of these things are more important for you to know than any historical figure of your country. There's no reason to know the history of your country. I know that sounds crazy. I told you I was going to offend some people. This is where it starts right here. What do you need to know the history of your country for? There's no reason. You are the history of your country. Modern day history right now. Your grandmother can tell you more about your country than any book written ever. This is who you should be talking to. This is who you should be getting your knowledge from. Knowing about this guy invaded this, and this is the king of that, and the queen of this, and this is useless information. Useless. And your brain is shoved with this, stuffed with this for 15, 20 years. After a while, you don't know who you are. You think you're Queen Elizabeth. This is like, and this is what is called insanity. This is insanity, but it's called sanity. Because if you could quote the history of the Dutch, for instance, and the Dutch did this and the Dutch did that, you're considered sane, civil, educated. But what you're actually studying is useless. Useless. Now, I say this. Please hold your applause. I say this. I say this respectfully. I gotta say this respectfully. Okay? Of course you need to know Dutch history. Let me say that for the record as well. We all should know something about the lands in which we live. My point is, when you put that knowledge against self-knowledge, cultural knowledge, inner being knowledge, this knowledge just does not hold up anymore. Just doesn't hold up. What you need is courage to be you. You need a reason and a right to stand on for you to be you. That's what hip-hop, all. Damn, did I say that evil word, all? I'm generalizing. It's something you never do in scholarship. All of public education in the Western Hemisphere is a lie. All of it. All. A-L-L. All. Every. All. Okay? All of it is a lie.
The only solution is organized revolution. That's the only solution. But people are afraid of that word revolution, so we like to use the word change. If you like change, you have to go out. There's two types of people in the world. People who will wait for the violence to stop, or people who want to stop the violence.
I could say trained by a corporation or trained by culture. In the book, it's Western education versus everyone else's model. Or Eurocentric education versus everyone else's model. We don't need those words. The more accurate word is cultural and corporate. This is the word. This is the better word to use. Because all Europeans, like for instance, all the Dutch did not enslave Africans. That's a lie. In fact, the Portuguese, that actually came from Portugal, the first Portuguese were actually just trading with Africans and really had a robust trade going on for like 200 years. See, we're in 2013, so 200 years like, oh, 2 days. No. Try to imagine what 200 years is like. Okay, the Portuguese, the Dutch, all of these Europeans were actually trading with Africa and doing good business. Good business. It's the Dutch, the Portuguese, the French, the English, and the Spanish that came after. Like 100 years after, 200 years after, that started the history that we all know of today. Europeans keep invading Europeans. This is European history, this landmass that we're on. One guy rises up and another one wants what he got, kills him, then someone else wants what they got. This is European history. One guy knocks off, another guy knocks off, another guy. France with England, England with this, with Spain, Portugal, everybody fighting over the riches coming in from Africa.
There you go.
Everybody want a dice of Africa.
Amen.
Everybody want a piece of Africa, including the African herself.
There you go.
Everybody want a piece. Now look at the history you're studying. Look at the nature of your teacher. The nature of the teacher that we're learning. Public education, corporate education. Invade, colonize, settle on places that are not yours, and learn objectively. Those are the natives. We are the whoever's.
If you want a better school system, ban it. You'll see how quick they'll just switch around. They'll cater to you very quickly. The dollar is a very important tool here in America.
Oh yeah, yeah. You got to come back again.
Now, when settlers came and first saw great civilizations in full swing, they were first in awe of it. First, everybody writing their diary. It was in all these great civilizations. They came out, they gave us gold. They gave us rubies, pearls, so they just gave it to us. They fed us, they clothed us, then we robbed them. You're not hearing the history. They gave us everything. But that wasn't enough. We had to now go and rob and subjugate the people who are giving you something. Now, those people are now learning public education. Your ancestors got public education. Public education is, you remember how you used to go over to the palm tree? And you used to go up to the palm tree. You used to know how to climb the palm tree, get up there. You knew what coconuts to get, what bananas to get. You knew it all. Now, you don't know any of it.
There you go.
None of it. You are a natural human being. Natural. You are a human. You are natural to the earth. You're created by the earth. But if somebody dropped you in a forest right now, you'd die in 2 days. Scientific, by the way, you have 48 hours to live. Drop any modernized human in a forest, and not a jungle where there's real animals walking around. You done in 2 hours. In a forest, just a forest. Okay, they got stuff walking around the forest, but you can live in a forest. You can get up in a tree in a forest. There's lakes and streams in a forest. You got 48 hours, maybe 3 days. As a living, breathing human being. This is public school education that takes your reality and puts it in their world.
The Matrix.
Don't go there yet. Stay plugged. The reality, and I want you to see this, I gotta go slow. Your reality, what you perceive as what's possible, what is possible for you, your reality is based on colonizers and beings.
Come in. Sit down. Yeah. I have a magical mind and magical body. Ancient metaphysician, you better ask somebody. With one handshake, I can tell if your plan's fake. I am to hip-hop what flour is to pancakes. I write rhymes till my hand aches. In the mountains of Colorado, taking in the landscape. When I'm in the city, I can't wait to live again. In the underground hot springs of the Hopi Indians. So you look around your heart and your mind, you will find I am there. If you're cold and you're broken, this fog in your scope, have hope. I am there. Get in tune with me, move with me, boom with me, room with me, zoom with me. I am there. I can see where you're at, barely trapped, can't move, can't act. I was there. And it's quite clear, my hardware was set ahead of most folks by 10 years. The hand of God said it, so on earth I speak prophetic. Publishing papers with no edit. I speak but most don't get it. But the few that do get it, in their minds my words stay embedded. And they blessed if they don't forget it. They'll never need a psychiatrist, a psychic, or a medic. Where we headed? To the ultimate state of freedom. That's where I'll lead them. If you let it, I'll free them. Let's set it for human beings in recreation. Having fun recreating themselves into a nation. Hip-hop, its home could never be a station. Sharing a space with R&B, stop faking. Do you know how much money they making off of you and I? Just because hip-hop won't unify? So look inside your heart or your mind, you will find every time I am there. If you're cold and you're broken, this fog in your scope, have hope. I am there. Get in tune with me, move with me, groove with me, boom with me, zoom with me. I am there.